Tonight, there is still no answer as to when high school football playoffs will start in West Virginia. Today, certain deadlines were made to hopefully move things along. The West Virginia Secondary Schools Activities Commission is asking the state Supreme Court to overturn two court rulings that have delayed the playoffs. The court got final written arguments this morning. Wood County Schools is arguing the WVSSAC has exceeded its authority and violated its own rules. They argue the reclassifications caused larger schools to lose playoff points and home field advantage. They also allege the SSAC did not survey schools on the new playoff structure and that the SSAC lacks a proper review procedure for classifications. In other developments, Cabell County Schools filed a brief supporting Wood County, and a Point Pleasant attorney is supporting WVSSAC. Her brief argues to overturn the Wood County decision and restore Point Pleasant's chance at the playoffs. It was one of 4 teams that would have made the playoffs without the Wood County ruling. The Supreme Court also appointed a Fayette County Circuit Judge to fill in for a justice who recused himself last week. The court has said with today's briefs it would be ready to consider a ruling, although the court has given no timetable for when a decision would happen.